I wanted to do a little video on 5 books that have impacted me both in business and personal life. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. Since leaving school, I didn't actually read a book until the age of 23. Like, I just didn't see any kind of practical reasoning behind it. And then someone that I was following suggested about reading How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I read that, and ever since I've just kind of been reading different books. I'd say my kind of books choices would be more around the practical kind of business sense, and then also I really like psychology and why we do things and the reasoning behind why we do certain things. So let's get into the 5 books that have impacted me the most in my life, and hopefully they can impact you. So book number 1 is The Purple Cow by Seth Godin. This was originally published in 2002, but it's still so relevant today. Like, it's amazing how scarily right he's been in all of his books, to be honest. But this book just really stuck with me in terms of standing out as a company, and how the market nowadays is so saturated with normal, and you can't be normal. You need to be that purple cow that stands out. I'd honestly have a look at reading this book. The lesson is simple. Boring always leads to failure. Boring is always the most risky strategy. Smart business people realise this, and they work to minimise but not eliminate the risks from the process. They know that sometimes it's not going to work, but they accept the fact that that's okay. In this book he talks about how, this was like before Facebook, before Instagram, but he still talks about the death of the TV commercial and how it doesn't work to advertise to people in that kind of mass broadcasting sense. And I highly recommend this book if you get a chance to read it, if you're in business or just kind of want to learn more about being different. I would definitely recommend reading this book. Book number 2. This was, I think, the second book I read. It's called Start With Why by Sinek. This is probably the most recommended book that I've said. Very insightful into why companies do things. We all know what you do, we all know how you do it, but why do you do it? That to me really stood out, in the sense that why I'm starting At Live, why I kind of want to do a business, why I'm making content for you guys, and it's a really interesting read. In business, it doesn't matter what you do, it matters why you do it. It takes a look at the kind of companies like Apple and Steve Jobs primarily, Disney, Walt Disney, and other companies like Harley Davidson, and why they started with why, but then people buy onto that why. They don't buy on what you do or how you do it, they buy why you do it. Really good book, just everyone go read it. Small Giants. This one's a bit of a curveball for people, because it basically says go out with the intention of not making a big business, and for a lot of people that's backwards, that's scary. They have this kind of idealistic mindset of having a $1 million company by the age they're 25, when in reality that's not realistic. Small Giants just talks about how companies focused and really honed in on their skills and their kind of niche and their location. It just shows that there's more to the business world than trying to make a multi-million-pound company. But by doing this kind of process of the long term, you're more likely to get the upside. It has long been a business article of faith that great companies, by definition, constantly focus on maximising their revenue year after year. Yet quietly, under the radar, a growing number of undeniably great companies have rejected the pressure of endless growth to focus on more satisfying business goals. I suppose this actually looks at the sense of like minimalism and not the need to have the biggest company or that kind of not having to worry about what other people think about your company and growing and things like that. And as long as you're happy, that's the ultimate goal for me. Is like, I'd much rather be happy doing what I'm doing, working with the clients that I'm working with, choosing who I work with. That's a fucking big important factor for me. I will do a video on that. Book number 4 is Principles by Ray Dalio. Work and Life Principles by Ray Dalio. This is hefty, this is a hefty book. He basically wrote down everything in his life and an answer to it. It's such a smart idea, like having a set of kind of principles that you live by and principles that you adhere to in your life, and knowing what those principles are is quite a beautiful thing. And then he's obviously shared it with the world, and yeah, I just think that remember who is more important than what. I might start doing this actually. I might start writing down different kind of things. I'd recommend everyone goes and read this book. You could just skip to the life principles, but a very good set of rules to kind of base what your thought process and book number 5 I don't actually have because I'm currently lending it to someone, but it's such a good book, and this one I think was written in 1999. It's still so relevant today, and it's even more relevant with the kind of use of social media and how people are just kind of, they put this demonise social media, but yet in reality it comes down to what we're thinking and how we're feeling, and that kind of self-awareness. The book is called Emotional Intelligence by Dalio. It's just a fucking good book. Like, anyone needs to read it, everyone needs to read it, and it talks about how it's more important to be emotionally intelligent rather than intellectually intelligent. And it kind of talks about how people who are more intellectually intelligent don't have the kind of emotional values that are so important in today's society. I've kind of experienced this firsthand in terms of my ex-partner was very intellectually intelligent, but I don't think she could handle the emotional sides of things. That's just my kind of personal opinion. It really was an eye-opener for me. I definitely recommend you go and read that book. Fucking good book. Thank you for watching. I hope you found these books useful. I hope that you are able to kind of use them if you choose to read them, or if you have any that you would recommend, please leave them in the comments, because I really like finding out new books and why they kind of mean something to an individual. Put them in the comments which books affected your life mostly. Thank you for watching.